Evolution. It's not intuitive to anyone that single-celled organisms diversified to give rise to every life form on this planet, including humans, and yet there it sits, supported by mountains of convergent evidence. People who experience out-of-body experiences, as part of their near-death experience, accurately report on details and conversations they could not have possibly perceived, either due to clinical death status, or they were too geographically distant to have done so in the first place. If the OB part of Andy can be, and has been, verified beyond statistical anomaly, there's little reason to doubt what they report next. A tube tuk 2 ax tubes tux 2 is not true. But a 2 B2 C2 is. Ax tubes tux 2 is not true. But a 2 B2 C2 is. Bell's incompleteness theorem. Quantum physics is just broken. What even is real? I find Gödel's incompleteness and completeness theorems, along with the halting problem in Russell's paradox, far more fascinating. I find Gödel's incompleteness and completeness theorems, along with the halting problem in Russell's paradox, far more fascinating. When you breathe in through your nose, one nostril breathes in the air faster than the other. And every few hours, the faster and slower nostrils switch which side is dominant. It's called the nasal cycle and is controlled by the autonomic nervous system. You can prove it to yourself. Breathe in through your nose very slowly while you pay close attention to the sensation. You can feel one nostril taking in the air faster than the other. Try it again every hour, and you will be able to tell that it switched automatically at some point. Probably only works if you are not already congested. The first fax machine predates the first telephone by 11 years. Learned that one while in training to become an technician. Every time you shuffle a deck of cards, they are in an order they have never been in throughout the history of playing cards. Most of the cells in your body don't belong to you. We are a superorganism. We evolved a symbiotic relationship with good gut bacteria. You literally need and depend on bacteria inside your body to perform functions your body cannot perform on its own. There are more ways to shuffle a standard deck of cards than there are atoms in the solar system. By a lot. It's not even remotely close. Every time you shuffle a deck of cards, it is extremely likely that particular order has never been shuffled before in all of human history. 52. Every time you shuffle a deck of cards, it is extremely likely that particular order has never been shuffled before in all of human history. The British, when they ruled India, classified tigers as vermin and sought to extradicate them. When they left, there were less than 10 tigers in India. In 1960, the Indian government passed the Tiger Conservation Act, which brought the tiger population to 4,000. China had tigers too, but they killed all of them, causing Chinese tigers to go extinct. When in the absolute absence of light, your eyes don't see absolute black darkness. Your brain makes up a color due to rod cells in your eyes still being active despite no stimuli. It's called Igengrau, which is German for intrinsic gray. Also, it's easier to see a light source in the dark by your periphery vision instead of looking straight on, because the center of your vision contains more cone cells, cells that detect color, and your periphery vision contains more rod cells, cells that detect light. If you fill ice cube trays with hot water, they will freeze faster than if you used cold water. http:// Wikipedia or Wikimpemba effect. Scientists described a previously unrecognized anatomical structure in the human body in 2018. Called the interstitium, it is a network of fluid-filled spaces supported by connective tissue that sits beneath the skin and surrounds organs, blood vessels, muscles, and the digestive tract. These spaces were long thought to be solid tissue. They went unnoticed because standard post-mortem preparation drains the fluid and collapses the structure, making it appear dense after death. New imaging techniques revealed it in living tissue. While some researchers argue it functions like an organ and may be among the largest structures by volume, there is no consensus. Many anatomists still classify it as a feature of connective tissue rather than a distinct organ. A day on Venus is longer than a year on Venus. A day, the time it takes the planet to make a full rotation, is longer than a year, the time it takes the planet to make a full rotation around the Sun on Venus. My favorite is that 9 repeating is equal to 1. 130.333. Repeating 230.666. Repeating, it must follow that adding the two together would create 0.999. Repeating, but we all know 331. Yay math. If you live in California, your credit card debts die with you. Not sure, but I imagine it might be different if you owe really big amounts. But if you owe a couple of thousand, no one will come after your relatives or estate for it. When my dad got to 90 years old, he removed my mom from all his credit card accounts for this reason. After he died, she didn't have to pay anything, and there were no collections. His biggest account had about 3,500 on it. So if you live here and you're getting on in years, be sure not to rack up any really big amounts, and your survivors won't be bothered. Red light therapy reduces inflammation and improves skin tone and texture. The effects of red light therapy on inflammation are systemic, and you can actually see a reduction in inflammatory markers, but doing a blood test before and after red light therapy. Something I learned in neuropsychology: your brain doesn't prioritize truth, happiness, or logic. It prioritizes survival. That's why trauma can outweigh years of safety, why your body reacts before your thoughts catch up, and why insight alone rarely fixes anything. The nervous system learns first. Reason comes later, if at all. The mean density of matter in the universe is about 4 or 5 protons per cubic meter. Sources and specifics vary, but whatever the details are, stuff is spread very thinly. All people actually have the same number of active X chromosomes. Female second chromosome gets inactivated in all cells very early in blastocyst development to prevent duplication of sen-coded proteins. The fur color patterning on tortoiseshell cats is the result of this process. The Monty Hall problem. If in a game show you are offered the choice of 3 doors and the prize is behind one of them, you choose one door and the host opens a different door to show that is not a winner. They then ask if you want to stay with your door or switch to the other unopened door. You should always say yes, because it turns your odds from 1-3 to 2-3 of winning the prize. You would think that it would remain 1-3, no matter what, but mathematically your odds technically go up. 100 prisoners, problem 100 numbered prisoners, must find their own numbers in one of 100 drawers in order to survive. The rules state that each prisoner may open only 50 drawers and cannot communicate with other prisoners after the first prisoner enters to look in the drawers. If all 100 prisoners manage to find their own numbers, they all survive. But if even one prisoner can't find their number, they all die. At first glance, the situation appears hopeless, but a clever strategy offers the prisoners a realistic chance of survival. Intuitively, this seems to be hopeless. Surprisingly, there is a strategy that provides for the survival of all the prisoners with probability more than 30. http:// Wikipedia or Wikion 100 prisoners problem. Most things related to quantum mechanics, like superpositions, quantum entanglement, and Hawking radiation, have been observed. The device in your hands right now depends on superpositions of the semiconductors. There's a high chance that at least one of the molecules of air that you breathe in every time you take a breath has also been breathed by Jesus and any other person, alive or dead, that has ever been on this earth. Banks create money. Most people think banks only lend money, but this is not correct. The vast majority of the money in circulation has been literally generated by commercial banks. A balanced diet. I used to complain to my doctor about my low energy and why didn't my vitamins work. Meanwhile, I was eating Campbell's soup, white bread, the odd burger, and 0 veggies. You have to put the proper food into your body so it can function. That doesn't sound like nonsense, though. It's just common knowledge. That doesn't sound like nonsense, though. It's just common knowledge. In a standard card deck of 52 cards, there are more possible combinations of the order of the cards than there are atoms in the universe. Alongside that, any given shuffle of said deck is likely to produce a combination that has never before been duplicated.